You know that feeling. The one that lives just below your sternum. A dull, heavy ache that sits in your chest like a stone that won't move. You tell yourself it's emotional. You tell yourself it's all in your head. But your body isn't listening to that explanation. It keeps hurting anyway. And the strangest part? It's not wrong. Heartbreak physically hurts because, to your brain, it is physical pain. Not a metaphor. Not a poetic exaggeration people invented to make sad songs sound deeper. Your brain processes the pain of social rejection using the same neural circuits it uses to process a broken bone. When a relationship ends, or when someone you love pulls away, your nervous system responds the way it would if something had torn a hole in your actual body. The sensation in your chest is real. The exhaustion is real. The way food tastes like nothing and sleep won't come, all of it is your biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. The question is why? Why would evolution wire you this way? Go back, way back, tens of thousands of years. You are not living in a city. You are not sleeping in a building. You are a small, relatively fragile primate in a world full of things that can and will kill you. Lions, cold, starvation, rival groups. You cannot outrun most predators. You cannot survive a winter alone. You do not have claws sharp enough to matter or skin thick enough to protect you. What you have, the only real weapon you have ever had, is other people. Your tribe is your survival. If you are cast out, you die. Not metaphorically, literally, being separated from your group in the ancestral environment was a death sentence. No shelter, no food sharing, no protection, no one to watch your back in the dark. Social connection was not a luxury your ancestors pursued for emotional fulfillment. It was oxygen. Lose it, and you stop breathing. Your brain learned this, and the way your brain enforced it was by making separation hurt. Not a gentle nudge, not a quiet warning. A full alarm system, the same one reserved for physical threats to your survival. Because to your ancient nervous system, social threats and physical threats were the same category of emergency. Both could kill you. Both needed to be treated as crises. Naomi Eisenberger at the University of California, Los Angeles ran a now famous experiment to test this. She put participants inside an fMRI scanner, a machine that tracks which parts of the brain light up in real time, and had them play a simple virtual ball-tossing game with two other players. At a certain point, the other two players stopped throwing the ball to the participant. They were excluded, ostracized, from a digital game. And yet when Eisenberger looked at the brain scans, the region that activated was the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the exact same region that processes the unpleasantness of physical pain. Your brain doesn't distinguish between being hit and being left out. It files both under the same heading. This is not a flaw. This is the system working. The pain you feel when someone you love walks away is your nervous system doing its oldest job, making sure you understand that what just happened is serious, that you should not ignore it, that you should fix it if you can, mourn it if you can't, and never, ever let yourself stop caring whether you belong somewhere. But knowing that doesn't make it hurt less. So what is actually happening inside your body when a relationship ends? It starts with cortisol and adrenaline. Your brain interprets the loss as a threat, so it floods your system with stress hormones the same way it would if you'd narrowly avoided a car crash. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, your digestion slows. Your immune system, which requires enormous energy to run, gets quietly deprioritized. This is why people get sick after breakups. It isn't coincidence. It is your immune system being redirected because your brain has decided there is a bigger emergency to deal with. Then there is the withdrawal. A long-term relationship literally changes your brain chemistry. The presence of someone you love, their touch, their voice, their predictable patterns in your day triggers the release of oxytocin, dopamine, and opioid peptides. These are not small things. Oxytocin is the same bonding chemical released between a mother and newborn. Dopamine is the same reward signal activated by food when you're starving. And opioid peptides, your body's own natural painkillers, are released during physical contact with people you're attached to. Jaak Panksepp, the neuroscientist who spent decades mapping the emotional systems of the brain, found that social bonds in mammals activate the same opioid pathways that regulate physical pain and pleasure. Attachment isn't just emotional, it is chemical, it is pharmaceutical. Your body is running on a supply of naturally produced compounds that the presence of this person helped regulate, and now that supply is cut off. What you are experiencing in the weeks after a loss is, in a very real neurological sense, withdrawal. The body aches, the anxiety, the obsessive replay of memories, the way your brain keeps looping back to moments with them, scanning for what went wrong, running simulations of what you could have said differently. That loop is your dopamine system refusing to accept that the reward source is gone. It keeps searching, keeps firing, keeps expecting them to walk back through the door because that is what it was trained to do. And then there is the chest. The specific sensation of heartbreak in the chest, that heavy, hollow, almost breathless pressure, has a name and a mechanism. Researchers call it Takotsubo syndrome or broken heart syndrome, and it is a documented medical event. Sudden emotional stress can cause the left ventricle of the heart to temporarily change shape. The muscle weakens, the chamber balloons in a distinctive pattern. It mimics a heart attack so closely that patients are often rushed to the cardiac unit, where doctors find no blocked arteries and no physical damage, just a heart that has been stunned by grief. It happens most often after the sudden death of a loved one or the end of a long relationship. It is more common in women, though it affects anyone. And while most people recover fully within weeks, the fact that it happens at all should tell you something about how seriously your body is taking what your mind is trying to minimize. Your heart, quite literally, responds to loss. Mary Frances O'Connor, a psychologist at the University of Arizona who studies grief, describes bereavement as a learning process that the brain resists. You spent months or years learning a person, their rhythms, their patterns, the way they fit into your daily predictions of the world. Your brain built an entire model around their presence. When they're gone, the model doesn't update immediately. It keeps generating predictions that can no longer come true. It keeps expecting what it was trained to expect. Every time those predictions fail, every time you reach for your phone to text them before remembering, every time you hear a song, every time you turn over in the night, that's your brain's prediction error system firing. The same signal that tells you something in your environment is wrong, something that needs to be fixed. You cannot think your way out of that. You cannot logic your way past a system that is running below the level of conscious thought. What you can do is understand it, and understanding it changes something. Because here is the other side of this. The same system that makes you hurt this much is the system that made you capable of loving this much. The wiring is identical. The capacity for deep attachment and the capacity for deep grief are not two separate things. They are one thing seen from two different angles. You cannot have one without risking the other. Your brain evolved to make connection feel like survival because for hundreds of thousands of years it was. And it evolved to make loss feel like injury because loss was injury. Physical, existential, mortal. The intensity of what you feel is not a sign that something is broken in you. It is a sign that the system is intact. That you were built to belong to people, and your body knows when that belonging has been disrupted. The ache in your chest tonight is ancient. It has been felt by every human who ever lived through loss, which is every human who ever lived. It is the cost of the only thing that made survival possible. And eventually, slowly, your brain will update its model. The predictions will shift. The withdrawal will ease, not because the person mattered less, but because your nervous system is doing the same thing it always has, adapting to keep you alive. Tonight, when that pressure sits below your sternum and you tell yourself it's all in your head, you're right. It is in your head, in your neurons, your cortisol, your dopamine, your ancient threat detection system doing its oldest job. And now you know exactly why it hurts so much. Because you were built to feel this. Because feeling this meant you were the kind of human who survived.